Welcome back to Herrschaften Müller. My name is Henrik, I am the mistress of this channel, and today I bring you postcards. I assume you're here because you just read the latest issue of Love, Patchwork and Quilting of December 2021. Or maybe you just watched this because you like my videos. In that case, go buy Love, Patchwork and Quilting. Or if it's a couple of years from now, maybe the pattern will be on my website. Anyways, there's a link in the description, I guess. The pattern tells you what to do. I'm just giving you a video description. So there's not everything in this video. For example, there are no measurements. But I will show you how to assemble this because there is some difficulties. I did not show you how to do the strip sets because I filmed it and it was out of focus. So I'm sorry. There is strip sets, 2 strip sets, each 3 fabrics. So there is the bottom 3 and the top 3, and then you cut them. It's in the pattern, it's not that difficult. One thing to note, you will get these 2 strip sets. So you're gonna cut 3 pieces of the wide one and 3 pieces of the smaller one. So that way you end up with 2 different kinds of hearts. Once where you have this one is a small part, once where this one is the larger part. So you get the rainbow in 2 different orientations. The first step is you need to cut all the pieces. I assume you have done that, and then you lay them out. I always lay them out in the way they are going to be put together, and then I'm going to start chain piecing. The pattern is for 6 postcards, and that is what I made. I made 6 of them. But you can just do 1 if you have scrap pieces. That way you don't, end up with a bunch of postcards. And maybe you don't even have 6 friends. I don't know. The first step that I am going to show you is how to make the 3 pieces into somewhat of a heart. Then the next step would be to cut off the top of the heart, because otherwise it would have a sharp corner, but we want to have this kind of roundish corner. Then we sew on the triangles on the bottom. Then we cut the sides. And then we add a strip to either side. That is how the pattern comes together. The next step would be to quilt this to death. Because it's a postcard. It's supposed to be a bit stiff. And then you iron on some interfacing on the back side. I use Freudenberg Flieseline H250. That is what I have. I use 2 layers of them. And the reason is, if I use 1 layer, it works, it's fine, but it's not as stiff. And if it's not as stiff, the edges will curl in a little when you do the satin stitch. If you use 2 layers or a thicker interfacing, that should do the trick. Okay, so enjoy the video and see you in the end. So I did cut the pieces according to the pattern, and I'm going to chain piece now. First, I'm always laying them the way I want to sew them together in order to not mix up the orientation. And then I'm just going to sew some pieces together. So I am making 6 postcards at a time. The pattern shows you how to do that or how to make just 1. But I decided that I want the 6 because I subcut the strip, and I don't really see a reason not to do 6 at a time, and chain piecing saves time and thread. Okay, so first I'm finger pressing, and then I'm just dropping the hot iron on this, and I'm going to use my clapper. I mean, and stuff like that just cracks me up. Can you see? When you see the parrot's head on the back side. It's just moments like these that make you enjoy quilting all that more. And now you need to make sure to not mix up the pieces because rainbow. Okay. So this is how they're going to go together. Okay, so like this. So flip this on top of each other. First I'm going to finger press. Clapper. So finger press. Put the iron on top, no squishing, just pressing. And then clapper. And now you can already see how the heart shape is coming together. So now we got the heart shapes, all of them. And we're going to do the small triangles, one to this side and one to this side. And then we're gonna chop off the top. So ignore this part of the triangle, just this side is important. So approximately center this on here. And then go ahead and sew it on. And now the other side. Again, ignoring the white. We can press like this, but again, I am pressing open. Okay. Clapper. This is what we need to do to the heart in order to get it the shape that I want it to be. And that is cutting off the top. So we align the ruler with the points, and then we cut off there. So that the points will be cut off in the next step when we when we sew the top piece on there. Okay, now I use the larger triangles and I sew them to these sides. Once again, they are too big, but that is on purpose. So this I'm going to cut off later. Just gonna go ahead and sew this on. Pressing open again, but I'm going to just finger press for now so I can show you the pretty much last step. Here, cut off the ear. Before pressing, I'm just going to go ahead and use the scissors real quick so I can show you what I'm doing. Okay, the next triangle on top, I'm sewing this on. Again, I would usually use the rotary cutter, but I want to be showing this without having to set up the camera every single time. Okay, so now you can see what's happening. Good, so I'm actually going to press now what I finger pressed before. And this one as well. because then I'm going to show you something that is kind of important, but not terribly important. So up here, there is a small little white triangle that I'm going to just pick out, because that's just bulk that I don't need. So I pick that out, and then I have to cut the sides as well. I'm not going to cut the bottom, I'm just going to cut the sides, aligning the ruler on top at the point again, here, and then same on the other side. And ignoring the bottom, because I'm going to cut that in the very, very end. So, back to the machine. Okay, so we have a small piece that we're going to sew to the top of this whole shebang. And here again you can pick out the little white triangle, because that's just bulk that we don't need. So, like this. Now you can see that the corners are cut off, making it a bit more round. So this step I'm not going to iron open, I'm just going to press to the side. And then there is one bit to either side, and then I'm done. Here I'm aligning to the top bit and ignoring the bottom. Again, aligning to the top bit and leaving the bottom open, because I'm going to cut off the bottom. Pressing. I'm going to press this to the side because of the little triangle. That's just going to be a lot of bulk if I press this any other way. So, and now you can see how this is a heart. And the next step would be quilting. And I cut this after quilting, because if you cut this now, if you want to use this as a block and not as a postcard, you can just cut this now into whatever size you want. But if you do a postcard, I would advise you to quilt this first and then cut this to size after quilting, because it's going to shrink a bit with quilting. Yeah. So that's that. So I assume that you have done the quilt tops for the postcard. I will not bore you with the quilting. I will show you in the end a few options, but you just quilt it however you want. And then the next step is the satin stitch. I will show you the satin stitch on a scrap piece, because I went ahead and quilted all of these and finished them last night when it was dark. So enjoy that. We take the piece and I use the Zigzag Stitch with a 0.3 stitch length on my machine. It's a Bernina, and the width I'm going to use is 4. I put this, this is a walking foot, and I put this in here so that the edge aligns with the very edge of where my needle goes. And I start pretty much at the very beginning. And then I sew. And this takes a while because it's a satin stitch. And I stitch till the very end, until I'm off the piece and the needle in the right position. Lift the foot, turn the piece, and put it precisely next to the needle in the corner. So I'm starting where the postcard starts, and I'm going to go over the first zigzag again. And I'm still in focus, which is good. And here again, till the very end, and a needle on the right position, foot up, turn, put this next to the needle in the corner, and then and again, once more. Then the needle should come next to the piece and not on the piece. Here I, mucked up a little, but it doesn't bother me. When I'm in the corner again, I turn and I go just a few stitches. And then I cut. And then take your sharpest scissors that you have and clean up the edges. I do that, I'm just holding the scissors and I'm just, slowly running it by. Okay. And if you are not satisfied with the edges, you can just do a second pass. And that is how you do the satin stitch. Yeah, so that's it. Oh, hey, you made it to the end. I'm going to show you the finished pieces now. My camera will want to focus on my face. I hope this works. So I'm just gonna shove it in my face. Okay, this one is just plain straight stitches. That is the easiest way to do it, and if someone isn't particularly quilt worthy, do that. So if you want to be a little bit more fancy, use this crosshatch. So it's straight stitches in this direction and straight in this direction. It's a bit more fancy, but not too fancy. It is still pretty easy. Different kind of not that very fancy is do the straight lines, but do them diagonally. I first did this line following the heart, and then I did just parallel lines in both directions. So that is a bit more fancy, but not too fancy, and it gives a nice and flat postcard, and it looks really nice, I think. I just used somewhat zigzag stitch. It's just like a wavy zigzag. It's a bit messy, but I don't mind. So it gives this lovely texture, as you can see when I, tilt this. So it's really cute. And then there's the, maybe a bit more difficult. I used just some diagonal lines, and in between I did this zigzag. So it gives this texture, but it doesn't look as messy. It still looks pretty clean and gives this a lovely texture. And then the fanciest one I did for this one, I made some of them before for the magazine. I did free motion quilting, but for this video I wanted to do just a bit easier for me and for you. I followed the lines in this direction, and then in this, and here, and there. And this way I get some crosshatches down here, some crosshatch here, here, and there I did just some V's. So this kind of mirrors the heart, and the middle is just unquilted. So the heart stands proud, as you can see here, maybe a little bit. And there you have it, 6 different postcards. It's a project for one day. So if you have, I don't know, like 3 or 4 hours to spare, then you can do this. maybe 5. Depends on how quick you are. So I did this when the kid was in bed. I had 3 hours and I did most of this. And today I just did the satin stitch. And that's it. So this is a lovely project to make postcards for birthdays or for Christmas. I don't know. Maybe you're a Christmas person. Maybe you're a Hanukkah person. Maybe you're a Kwanzaa person. So whatever holiday you want to give these to, I think people will be delighted. Birthdays or, you know, maybe you like someone enough to send them a postcard without a reason. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please like, comment, subscribe, call your mum, tell her, call your dad, call your gran, call everyone you know, so that, you know, I get all the clicks. And yeah, head over to my Instagram if you want to see more. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. How do I look? I'm pretty. I'm so pretty. So, should I film some B-roll? I don't know. So, my Christmas tree is coming tomorrow. I'm very excited about that one. I did this intro 3 times and the outro 4. I hope you are enjoying the new sound quality. I have a new microphone. This is a messy video. I'm sorry. I had to do this in between kids and other stuff and household and... what's this? Okay, so whatever. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Bye bye.